Welcome back to another exciting year of fantasy football, right here on the Bread Channel. I'm your co-host, Miguel Gonzalez.
And I'm Tom Brown. Before we begin, let us take a moment to congratulate Landon for being the first Bass-to-Bass champ in league history. Let's see if you can hit for the birdie this year.
Congrats, Landon. In other news, we will play the same rules as last year with only one minor change, and that is, if a player contracts COVID, a team owner, in other words, you guys, will be eligible to place a COVID tag on said player if they so choose to drop them to the waiver wire.
That's right, Miguel. Just message me which player you want to have tagged, and I will ensure no one else picks them up off the waiver wire. If said player who is COVID tagged is picked up by somebody else, I will use the commissioner's power to forcibly drop them from the owner's team. And if you don't believe it, well, that's just fake news.
Fascist. All right, everybody. It's time to preheat those ovens and prepare for the anxiety, because it's time to shake and bake.
In a shocking twist this year, Raul is the first person to pay league dues. And we all thought 2020 was a crazy year. On to some NFL news. Von Miller is set to have season-ending ankle surgery. That just means the Broncos' horseshoes are already falling off. Tom Brady, Gronk, and Leonard Fournette are all Bucks now. And according to a Barstool website, OBJ likes a nice two-Keurig deuce sprawled out across his chest. I'm not sure really what to think of that, Miguel, but if you ask me, if OBJ and his girl ever got lost in the woods, the first thing they would do is build a log cabin.
Speaking of OBJ, he'll be taking a hot Cleveland steamer on the Ravens secondary this weekend, seeing as how Earl Thomas has recently made it public that he really doesn't give a shit. Our first matchup this week is between yours truly and none other than the tenacious, hefty, glad of a trash bag, Will's team. His stinkiness rivals the waste of the $122 he spent on Christian McCaffrey when he could have spent his money much more wisely. Will, your bag is starting to rip. And on to predictions. During the draft, I bet Will didn't realize that each of his players' trash day is Sunday. And much like Cam Newton's career as a quarterback, it's time to reduce, reuse, and recycle any hope he might have that this year would be better than last season's shit show of a 1-10 record. I see this matchup going about as well as a sleepover at an aquarium, because it looks like Will is going to be sleeping with the fishes. Prediction, Miguel, but barely.
Fish? Is that what that smell is? I thought it was just Maddie's team. For a third season in a row, Maddie and Tom face off to start off the season. Tom has gotten the best of her the last 2 years, but we all know Maddie holds grudges. According to an inside source, Tom was very close to drafting Mike Evans. However, Maddie made a bid Tom just couldn't afford. Luckily for Tom, Mike Evans finger popped his hamstring.
Mother!
Prediction, Tom.
On the topic of injuries, Courtland Sutton sprained his shoulder this week in practice. At least he didn't sprain it falling off a skateboard. Tom? Sutton might be questionable this week, but not as questionable as Raul's draft picks. The man has 2 kickers and is starting 2 mediocre tight ends in week 1. Ballsy move, Raul, but I think Caleb's method of trusting the Houston process has played out well this week. However, Will Fuller on the bench has definitely left Caleb with steel blue balls. Prediction, Caleb.
Incidentally, Landon has proven year in and year out that he has massive steel balls for making blockbuster trades. He's already off to a great start this year, as a different inside source has confirmed that he's already collaborating with Tom via text. On the other hand, Mondo has enough balls to let auto draft. And it might actually pay off. But I think Mondo's Sunday is missing some nuts. So when you ask me who's going to win this matchup, Chalo, you got the bats.
While the Bills Mafia has been fishing for a stable quarterback, they somehow think reeling in Josh Allen was a great catch. Just like Lon hopes the Jets can catch a break this season with Sam Darnold throwing post routes to ghosts. Unexpectedly, a ghost is drafted for JT this past weekend. Too bad his team is hauntingly average. I've had a premonition that Kittle, Kelsey, and his creepy crew will crawl away with the victory. Lon may not be the best drafter, but when he does, he prefers tight ends. Prediction, Lon.
When I look at Santi's team, I get the vibe that this guy drafted in his work parking lot after an 8-hour shift. When I look at Brandon's team, I get a half chub. In the fantasy reality of it all, these guys have a pretty good matchup, and this one's got me guessing. Santi, consider changing your quarterback since Brandon has Jackson's running back and receiver. If you don't, this loss will only hurt as bad as an Ingram toenail. Prediction, Brandon. At this moment, we'd like to take some time to acknowledge that this will undoubtedly be our worst video. We can only get better from here. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Well, wasn't that fun, Tom? I had a blast today.
It sure was, Miguel. This is going to be an interesting season. Y'all tune in next week right here on the Brett Channel. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.